I want you to think about the first time someone told you to put your money in the bank. Maybe it was a parent. Maybe it was a teacher. Maybe it was just something you absorbed from the world around you, the idea that responsible people save their money, and saving your money means putting it in a savings account. That is what you do. That is what smart people do. And so you did it. You set up direct deposit. You watched the balance grow slowly, month by month. You felt the quiet satisfaction of seeing that number increase. You felt responsible. You felt like you were doing the right thing. And here is the part that is going to be difficult to hear. While you were doing that, while you were being responsible and patient and trusting, your bank was doing something with your money that they never fully explained to you. And the gap between what they told you your money was doing and what it was actually doing has, over the years, cost the average American household somewhere between $50,000 and $200,000 in lost wealth. Not because you did anything wrong, not because you were careless or irresponsible, but because you trusted a system that was designed from its foundation to make money for the bank and to make just enough for you to keep you satisfied and keep you from asking questions. Today, we are going to ask the questions. The savings account is one of the most brilliantly designed financial products in American history. Not because of what it does for you, but because of what it does for the bank while making you feel taken care of. It is a relationship that looks like partnership and functions like something else entirely. And once you see it clearly, once the numbers are in front of you, you will never look at your savings account statement the same way again. That is not a bad thing. That is the beginning of something much better. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Here is the number your bank does not put on the billboard outside the branch. The national average interest rate on a standard American savings account right now is approximately 0.42% annually. Not 4.2%, not 42%, 0.42%. Less than half of 1 single percent per year. Let me show you what that actually means in your life. You work hard, you save $10,000. You put it in your savings account because that is what responsible people do. At 0.42% annual interest, after 1 full year of your money sitting in that account, you have earned $42. $42. After 12 months of discipline and restraint and choosing not to spend that money, your bank paid you $42. Now, here is the other half of that equation, the half your bank never shows you side by side with the first half. That same year, your bank took your $10,000 and used it. That is what banks do. They lend your deposits to other customers at interest rates of 7%, 12%, 18%, sometimes 24% or higher on credit card balances. Your $10,000, lent out at even a conservative average of 8%, earned your bank approximately $800 in that same year. Let me be precise about what just happened in that transaction. You deposited $10,000, your bank paid you $42, your bank used your money to earn $800. The difference? $758 went to the bank. You provided the capital, they provided a building and a website, they kept $758. They gave you $42, and they called it a savings account. That is not a savings account in any meaningful sense of the word. That is a loan you gave to your bank at 0.42%, while they relent it to their other customers at rates 20, 30, 40 times higher. You are the lender, they are the borrower, and somehow in this arrangement, you are the one paying fees if your balance drops below the minimum balance. And here is where it becomes genuinely serious. Inflation, the rate at which the cost of everything you buy increases every year in the United States, has averaged approximately 3.2% annually over the last 20 years in the United States. Your savings account pays you 0.42%, inflation costs you 3.2%. The difference is negative 2.78%. That means every single year your money sits in a standard savings account, it loses roughly 2.78% of its purchasing power. It loses its ability to buy things in the real world. The number in your account goes up by $42, but everything that $42 could buy costs more than it did last year. You are not saving money in a savings account. In real terms, in terms of what your money can actually do in the world, you are slowly losing it, every year, quietly. Now, I want to show you what is sitting right next to your savings account, the thing your bank almost never mentions, and that Wall Street has quietly used to build generational wealth for over a century. In 1976, a man named John Bogle introduced something called the index fund to ordinary American investors. The concept was simple, almost insultingly straightforward. Instead of paying expensive fund managers to try to pick winning stocks, you simply buy a small piece of every major company in America at once. Apple, Microsoft, Johnson & Johnson, Coca-Cola, hundreds more, all at the same time through a single investment for a fraction of a percent in annual fees. The results of this approach over time are not a theory. They are a 60-year documented historical record. The S&P 500, the 500 largest companies in America, has returned an average of approximately 10.5% annually over the last 50 years. Not every year. Some years it goes down. Some years dramatically up, but averaged across 50 years of market cycles, recessions, recoveries, wars, and technological revolutions, 10.5% per year. Let me put your $10,000 back on the table and run both numbers for you. $10,000 in a savings account at 0.42% for 30 years becomes approximately $11,340. You added $1,340 over 3 decades. Meanwhile, inflation reduced the purchasing power of that money by roughly half over the same period. In real terms, you lost ground. $10,000 invested in a basic S&P 500 index fund at 10.5% average annual return for 30 years becomes approximately $187,000. Not $11,000, $187,000 from the same $10,000. The only difference is where the money was placed. That gap, $175,660, is the price of the comfortable lie. It is the cost of trusting the savings account story without ever being shown what was available one step to the right. And here is what makes this difficult to hear for people in their 40s. Every year that money sat in the savings account earning 0.42% instead of growing at 10.5% is a year of compounding that cannot be recovered. Time is the ingredient that makes compounding work. The bank's savings account spent your time earning $42 a year. That time is gone. But here is what I need you to hold on to. The people who started at 45 and invested consistently for 20 years still changed their retirement completely. 20 years at 10.5% still turns $500 a month into approximately $380,000. The math does not stop working because you started late. It requires you to start now instead of later. The savings account has a purpose: emergency funds, short-term money you will need within 1 to 2 years. But it was never meant to be the place where your future lives. Your bank knew that. They just never told you. At this point, you may be wondering, if the index fund has a 60-year track record of dramatically outperforming the savings account, why does your bank never mention it when you walk in to open an account? Why does every branch have a savings account application at the front desk and never a pamphlet explaining what an index fund is and how to open one? The answer is not complicated. It is just uncomfortable. Reason 1. Your savings deposit makes the bank money, directly, immediately, and continuously. Every dollar you deposit becomes a dollar the bank can land to someone else at a much higher interest rate. Your deposits are the raw material of their lending business. The more you deposit, the more they can lend. The more they lend, the more they earn. A customer who moves money out of a savings account and into an index fund is a customer who has removed raw material from the bank's production line. Banks are not in the business of encouraging that. Reason 2. Index funds make almost nothing for the bank. The fees on a basic index fund from Vanguard or Fidelity are as low as 0.03% annually, 3 cents per $100 per year. There is almost no profit in that product for a large financial institution. Compare that to the actively managed mutual funds that many banks do recommend. Those carry fees of 0.75% to 1.5% or higher annually, and come with commissions for the advisor who sells them to you. Banks recommend the products that generate revenue for banks. That is not a scandal. That is simply how a business operates. But you deserve to know it. Reason 3. The savings account feels safe in a way that keeps you from asking questions. When you see your balance going up by $42, you feel progress. You feel responsible. That feeling is valuable to the bank because a customer who feels okay does not look for alternatives. The moment you understand that your money is losing purchasing power in that account every single year, that the number going up is masking a deeper loss, you start asking different questions. Banks are not motivated to create that moment for you. None of this means your bank is evil. Your bank is a business. It operates in its own interest, as all businesses do. The mistake was never that the bank operated this way. The mistake was that nobody sat down with you, in school, at home, at the branch when you opened your first account, and explained the difference between a tool that keeps your money liquid and safe in the short term and a strategy that actually builds wealth over time. Those are two completely different things, and for decades, many Americans have been using one of them and calling it the other. You now know the difference, which means you now have a choice you did not fully have before today. I want to come back to you for a moment, not to the numbers, not to the percentages or the 30-year calculations. To you, the person who has been watching this and feeling something somewhere between frustration and something that might quietly be hope. The frustration is valid. If you have had money sitting in a savings account for 10, 15, 20 years, earning 0.42%, while inflation steadily reduced what it could buy, that is real money that did not grow the way it could have. That loss is real. You are allowed to feel that. But the hope is more important than the frustration right now. Here is what I need you to do this week. Not someday, this week. Step 1. Open your banking app and find your savings account balance. Write down that number. Write down the date you opened that account. Calculate how many years your money has been sitting there. This is not to make you feel bad. It is to make the invisible visible. You cannot decide about something you have not looked at directly. Step 2. Search for the following: Fidelity Zero Index Fund or Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. These are two of the most trusted, lowest-cost index fund options available to ordinary Americans. Both can be opened online in under 20 minutes with as little as $1 to start. You do not need thousands of dollars to begin. You need a decision. Step 3. If you have an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of living expenses that you may need at any moment, keep that in your savings account. That money should be liquid and accessible. The savings account is the right tool for that purpose. But any money beyond your emergency fund, money you will need for 5 years or more, that money deserves better than 0.42%. I am not telling you to empty your savings account tomorrow. I am telling you to understand what it is and what it is not. It is a short-term holding place. It was never designed to be where your future lives. And now that you know that, you can make a different decision than the one you made before you knew. The bank will not call you. The bank will not send you a letter explaining that your money could be doing more. The bank will continue depositing $42 into your account every year and sending you a statement that shows a number going up, hoping that number is enough to keep you from looking any further. You looked further today. That decision, the one you made when you pressed play on this video, that is the decision that separates people who change their financial trajectory from people who stay exactly where they are and wonder why things never improve. The math is patient. The index fund does not care when you start. It cares only that you do. My name is Angela, and I will see you in the next one.